Al, thank you so much for joining me today. It's really a pleasure to get to talk to you today.
Oh, likewise. What do you got, Paul? Let's talk about the art behind you. Are people going to see this or just hear it?
Oh, no, they will see it actually.
Oh,
So
cool. So is
right
that
behind.
Vision? Who's that?
No, that's actually Mr. Miracle. He's a little bit more obscure kind of in the DC universe, but he's one of
Yeah,
my favorite characters.
yeah. He's
Uh,
like the is I know Mr. Miracle. Yeah. So okay, cool.
yeah, and then Alex Ross,
Wonder
Wonder
Woman.
Woman, and
Yep.
so yeah, a little bit of everything. Awesome. Well, thank you for noticing. I appreciate it. But we're not here to talk about my art. We're here to talk about some of the art you're making. You're one of the stars in Sony's Morbius. Tell us a little bit about your character.
Agent Alberto Rodriguez partnered up with Simon Stroud to track down all of these Sony Marvel bad guys. Um, ideally, we're with all of these, we're your shield for the Sony Marvel universe.
So yeah, it's actually something I wanted to ask you about because it's called the FBI's Department of Enhanced Individuals. So you monitor all these guys. So we're talking about the possibility of being featured in other films, maybe as the recurring team that has to go and check it out.
I'm looking for wood to knock on, but yeah, ideally, yeah, wouldn't that be the coolest?
Yes.
So yeah, that was the plan. We'll see if it actually happens, but yeah, I think it's we're hoping that Morbius is successful, and then we'll go from there.
Can you tell me a little bit about your character's kind of personality? Because I know that in some production notes I looked at, you kind of described him as a Columbo type character who kind of knows more than he leads on.
Yeah, I think I'm such a big fan of these films, and when you are investigating, when you have um, it's I love Columbo and Peter Falk. What he did with that, it's like, oh yeah, and one more thing, if I could, it's just, and so I definitely tried to bring a little of that into it, and again. I was given a tremendous opportunity to improvise in this film, so that's every comic actor comedian's dream. And I'm anxious to see how much of that actually made it in, and
Oh,
being
okay.
such a fan of this genre, it was so cool to watch like the Easter egg team on set, and there's all kinds of cool stuff in the background that people should look for. I know there were a bunch of teases in the trailer that they put in, but yeah, I think there's a tremendous amount. If yeah, you're gonna have to. If you blink, you're gonna miss it. But if you really once you get the opportunity to pause and read a bunch of the graffiti in the background, and there's a
Mm.
lot of cool stuff happening. So
Yes,
uh,
sometimes it's a little hard to catch, especially the first time around, because you're almost just really enamored with everything going on that you don't
mhm.
necessarily pay attention to the background. But hopefully, people watching this will kind of take a little bit more
Yeah,
time to.
but we're just hunting down the bad guys, trying to make sense of it all, and figure out, who, we're gonna work with and who we're gonna lock up.
Yeah, yeah, and as you should. And so part of your your character obviously is the back and forth that you have with your partner. Uh, can you talk about working with Tyrese Gibson and how that partnership develops?
I mean, it was a trip. Like Tyrese is this megastar, so we were hanging out in London. It was incredible, and we'd work on this together. Like so, I would hang out with Tyrese at his hotel and go out to lunch, and that guy can't. People are handing him babies in the street. They literally did that.
Oh,
That happened. A woman just said, "Take my baby." And cars would pull over. Like Tyrese can't walk around. And we go to, lunch in Chelsea, and, that somebody must have tipped somebody off, but I've never been part of anything like that where you walk outside. I actually have, but you have this mega star, and you walk outside, and there's little Italian guys on Vespas trying to take pictures. It's crazy.
well, that must be quite the experience. This is the reason why I enjoy being on this side of the interviews rather than that side a little
Yeah,
bit.
I mean, it's a small handful of people, but that have can't walk down the street. But it's I go to Ralph's, and people think that I look like somebody they went to high school with. People, they think you can't like, is that the but Tyrese, and working with him, that was such a cool partnership because we are so different.
Mhm.
And we did work together a lot, and actually we're just became friends, to the point where I've been to his house, in LA, and he's met my whole family. And so we did build up that rapport that hopefully you're going to see on screen.
Nice, and hopefully we see it again and again in other films as well. I can't let you go without asking you about representation on the big screen, and because you have Daniel Espinosa helming the film, you have an Adria Aronja, and then there's you, Al Madrigal, and something that he had mentioned was how special it was for him as a director to realize that he's directing, he has actors, not because they're playing a type character, just because that's just the way it is. A doctor, an FBI agent, and him actually in the back seat as a director. Can you talk a little bit about that?
We recognize that. I just posted this picture on my Instagram yesterday. We recognize that on set. We were talking about it. How, and this is in spring of 2019 when we were filming this thing, but it was not lost on Daniel, Audrey, and myself that how rare it was to have a big budget studio film director, directing a Latina and a Latino in major lead roles in a movie like this. And it shouldn't be special, but it was. And hopefully it's a sign of things to come, because I point to Brooklyn Nine-Nine with Melissa Fumero and Stephanie Beatrice. It's
Mhm.
just the way things are, and little kids need to see themselves represented on the big screen and on the cover of their kids books, and need to see people that look like them and in comics. And so eventually we'll get there. But this is Sony and Morbius producers and Sony Marvel, the people that made this happen. I can't thank them enough, because it means more than they even know. So I'm thrilled to be a part of that.
Hey, and for me, it means a lot to me as well. So you can add me onto that list.
Yeah, I just it's taken too long, and hopefully this is a sign of things to come. But hey, Latinos, Latinas, Latinx, Latinx people listening to this, like, get out and support this movie, because for that very reason alone. And when you see other Latinos on screen, it's a big deal.
Mhm.
So make sure you support those shows. We can't, just should get out there, and certainly get out there for this. Uh, yeah, definitely. Don't kick out the ladder when
No.
you make it. Help as many people out as you possibly can.
Al, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. I followed your career a little bit. It used to, make me laugh quite a bit. So very excited to see you in a big budget film like this, and hopefully it's just we more of this to come.
Thanks, dude. I really appreciate it.
All
Thank you
right.
so much. All right,
Take
later.
care.
See ya.